Hi YouTube, this is 31. Hope you all are having a wonderful day today. This is my first video with YouTube. Hoping that you all enjoy it. I just am on this journey where I am discovering a lot of things about myself, and as you can see from the title of the video, it is talking about infertility and reasons that people deal with not being able to conceive. Now, what made me come up with this video? Well, I have spent such a journey in this area of trying to conceive. I've spent all the money, on the pregnancy tests, the ovulation kits, the prenatal vitamins. I did the Fertility, the Oval Boost, the Myo Install. I did the apple cider vinegar. I did the diet changing. There is a lot of things that I have tried and have spent so much money on. So you can search YouTube and you can find the many types of things that you can do in order to conceive where it comes to having to spend money. But in this video, I want to talk about practical things that may be some of the reasons why we have not been able to conceive. One thing that I understand is that the truth is free. The truth is so vital in our lives, and it's better than any medicine, because when you understand and you know better, as people say, you do better. So I want to be able to give you some truth about going through this journey and trying to conceive that may in fact help you. Now, I want to put out a disclaimer. I am in no way a doctor. I am in no way a counselor. Yes, I have been a counselor for about 10 years, but I never became licensed. But I have counseled in prisons, and I have dealt with at-risk youth a lot. 10 years, that's a long time. And I just put down counseling and decided to give my mind a rest. But the information that I'm giving you is information that I have found out through the journey on my own, and just through reading and biblical perspectives. I am a minister, so a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about is going to be dealing with biblical principles. And I think that you're really going to enjoy it and understand a lot of things differently. So if you're tired of spending money, this is the video for you to be able to deal with you, because we don't realize that things going on the inside, internal issues, mental issues, emotional issues affect your body physically. And that's something that I have learned to realize about myself. And I know if it's true for me, then it's true for many others. Some of this information may not be for everybody, but I guarantee you that many of you can identify with this information. Now, there are about, I'm looking at my notes here, I have about 7 things. So this may be a 2 or 3 part video that I will be posting, so I'm not going to give you all. Today I'll probably just talk about 2 things. and we'll just go from there. So the first thing, which is very, very simple, and I know you hear it all the time, but everything is in God's timing. And that's simple. It just is not time right now to conceive. Now, this is what gives me comfort, because in this simple thought comes a lot of the issues as to why we aren't able to conceive, that I'll go into further detail. So the reason why I believe it's not His timing in some people, especially when it comes to myself, I had a lot of rooted issues in my heart that I had to deal with. And I don't believe that God wanted me to pass those things down to my child. Because do you believe this, that you can pass down depression to your children? You can pass down anxiety to your children. Just like your child can inherit diabetes, your child can inherit sickle cell, your child can inherit blue eyes from you. They can inherit these other things as well. So with me dealing with depression and anxiety, and I was diagnosed as being bipolar and all these types of things going on in my life, I truly believe that God wanted to work those things out of me so that it wasn't passed on to my child. A lot of other things that people may deal with may be anger, bitterness, unforgiveness, all of these types of things that I'll go into detail about later on in another video. All of these types of things God is trying to work out of us so that we don't pass it on to our child. So everything is in His timing, and He's trying to work things out in our life so that we can have healthy children and not pass on all of these things to our children. You know, you want your child to be successful in life, and you don't want your child to live a life that you lived of struggling and being depressed and all of those types of things. So look at it in that way so that it can encourage you to say, okay, it didn't happen this month or it didn't happen this year, but God, you showed me some things about myself. You showed me that I had not forgiven this person and I need to forgive, or I was bitter about this for all of these years, or I've been depressed for so long, and you have worked that out of me. I may not have gotten the child, but I've gotten victory over these certain things. So I want you to keep that in mind when it comes to God's timing, that everything is working for the good because God loves us. So I just decided that I was going to stop spending all of this money. I just want to throw this in there. The cheapest thing when it comes to trying to conceive and wanting to know whether or not you conceive for the month is to simply go buy a thermometer and check your temperature every day. Take your BBT every day. When you ovulate, a few days before you ovulate, your BBT is going to dip. And then when it rises above 98 degrees, that means that ovulation has occurred. So between the dip and the rise, that is ovulation. It's already occurred. So you're still taking your temperature. If your temperature remains elevated 14 to 18 days, somewhere in that area, that means that the possibility is that you have conceived. Okay, if it drops anytime during those 14 to 18 days, anytime between that, the chances are that your cycle is about to come on. Okay, yes, we've heard of the ovulation dip and all of that, but most of the time it's not an ovulation dip. It is your body telling you that your cycle is about to come on. But sometimes that is the case, but you just have to wait it out. Don't go buying all those pregnancy tests, wasting all that money. Just take your temperature every day. That's just a side note, okay? And this is just from years of trying to conceive. I'm on year 5 now. Been married 5 years, and so this is the 5th year that we have been trying to conceive. And so this is what I said to myself, because this is God's timing and it's all in His will when it will happen. I said to myself that I'm going to stop putting pregnancy as a priority in my life, because you know it as well as I do. We are up all day and all night, and that's all that's on our mind. We're like, okay, is this the day? Is this the week of ovulation? Is this the time that I need to be getting ready? And all of this stuff is on our mind, and then that 2-week wait drives us nuts. And we miss the journey. We miss the journey. And the journey is what I talked about earlier, discovering and learning things about yourself that will help you to become better. The priority needs to be being healed. Now, what I mean by being healed is being healed mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. That should be your priority, because when you're healed, you're whole. And when you're whole, your body can do what it has to do according to the will of God and bring forth that child that God has ordained in your life. So I challenge you to make your priority to be healed, rather than your priority being, I've got to do it this month. Because when you don't do it that month, what happens? You become sad, disappointed, and the world is about to end in your life. It's like it's never going to happen. And you go days of just feeling bad, depressed. So we want to come out of that circle and out of that cycle, and let's look at things a little different. Okay? So that will bring me to my second reason that sometimes we have not conceived. And it all goes back to what I talked about from the first issue when I talked about God's timing. But this one it goes a little more deeper, because now it is as if you're taking a mirror and putting it in front of you and looking at yourself. Now, how many of us like that? I talk to a lot of young ladies, and one of the main things that I have come to realize is no matter how beautiful people may tell us we are, we don't like ourselves. Low self-esteem, believe it or not, is not healthy, because the mind is so powerful. I remember having depression, which I'll talk about that later. But I remember one day I got tired of being depressed. So I just woke up one morning and I said, you know what? I will not be depressed anymore. I'm not taking this medicine anymore. I don't need it, because I'm not going to be depressed. And from then on, I never had to take that medicine. I never had to deal with that major depression that I was going through. My mind told me, and my body lined up with what my mind said. Now, with that being the case, if I don't love me, And I have convinced myself that I am the most ugliest person in the world, and nobody loves me, nobody likes me, I don't like how I look. If I have convinced myself in my own mind that I don't love me, my body is going to line up with what my mind is saying. And my body is not going to love me. My body is going to turn on me. My body is going to start acting up. Low self-esteem can cause so many dysfunctional issues in your body, a hormonal imbalance out of this world, simply from low self-esteem. Because you don't love you, your body begins to turn on you. Because you're telling yourself and your body that I hate this. But God said in his word that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. He looked at his creation and said, this is very good. So we have to see ourselves the way that God sees us. We have to overcome, when we look in the mirror, not wanting to look in the mirror. I can remember as a teenager, oh my goodness, I thought, and this is no lie, I just thought that there was this little ugly demon that followed me, because I felt like I was the ugliest person in the world. I wouldn't look at myself in the mirror or anything. And with low self-esteem came depression, came anxiety, came the bipolarism, all of this stuff. And so also what happened was I developed thyroid issues. Now, thyroid issues come from your hormones being imbalanced. So as a teenager, I had I think it was hyperthyroidism. That's when your thyroid is overactive. So I was a skinny little thing. One year I'd be skinny, one year I'd be fat. It was just back and forth. And I would take pictures every year and look like a totally different person. But as I became older, getting into the mid-20s, I developed hypothyroidism. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the hypothyroidism is when the thyroid was underactive. So I got at a certain weight and I just stayed there. I didn't move from that weight. No matter how much I exercised, no matter how much I ate right, the weight wasn't going anywhere. It was like stubborn. It wasn't moving at all. So I had to just assess my own self, like what is really going on? Why can't I lose this weight? Well, because I don't love me. And when you don't love yourself, believe it or not, your behavior towards yourself demonstrates that you don't love yourself. So you start just eating, or not eating, starving yourself, trying to look a certain way to please people, or just eating yourself away because the food is comfort food. So many people deal with low self-esteem and not loving themselves, and this is a major issue. Think about this, knowing that everything is in God's timing. How in the world can you be a good mother and you don't love yourself? How can you love this child that comes into the world if you don't have a love for yourself? You can't love them perfectly. You can love them to a certain extent, because now in your heart you feel like, okay, now I have something to love, but you can't give them the perfect love that they need, because you really don't understand love, because you don't love yourself. So this is something that I just want you all to think about in this video. In the next video, we'll talk about a couple of more things. Depression and unforgiveness, You know, I'm not going to tell them all to you. We'll just talk about them in the video, but I know those are some major things. And if you would like for me to go even in further detail about what I've just discussed, you know, leave a comment below. And you can also subscribe to me because on Saturdays, what I'm going to do each Saturday is I'm going to do what I'm calling a word for the womb. It is going to be a message each week of encouragement, a word for the womb, to feed the womb, to feed the spiritual man of you, and to encourage you, not just in the videos that I'm doing now, but just a little weekly encouragement. So click the link below, subscribe to Acts 31, and I will explain to you why I call myself 31. Because my husband gave me that name. He always calls me his Proverbs 31 woman. So if you want to know what Proverbs 31 is, then go to the book of Proverbs in the Bible in chapter 31 and read about it. This channel right now, I'll be focusing on trying to conceive and dealing with that, because this has been a major issue that I know I have dealt with in the past 5 years. And because God has blessed me with the wisdom in this area, even though I don't have children, I want us to go on this journey together. And my prayer is that I begin to get comments below saying, 31, I finally got my BFP. I forgave, I let go of some things, and healing started to take place in my body, and I got my BFP. Even though I may not have mine, I will be so happy for you, because I realize that what I'm doing is not in vain. Freedom, the truth, I'm telling you, is powerful, and it heals better than any medicine could ever heal. Because once you know the truth, it will make you free. So I just leave you with that thought, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe to me, to follow me throughout this journey, so that we all can get our BFPs together, and just have a wonderful day.